All right, I want to thank y'all for tuning the video today. Today, I haven't done a live in a while, so I thought I would just drop a live video out here. A few things going on with the Raptor R order. Of course, most of you probably heard there was a fire in the Dearborn plant, and aluminum availability has become restricted. So, I had a 2025 allocation, and so we put in a 2025 order, and it was probably going to be built, November, December, something like that. But now, with everything being pushed, that order is going to be pushed to a 2026. So the order's been re-entered as a 2026. And as of now, with what's going on, I'm not sure if it's going to get scheduled. You know, Probably will get scheduled in November. And my guess is that the truck will probably get built somewhere in December or January, somewhere in that area. But I've got some good stuff. I'll go to my community or my wall. You can see I've got some posts of all the things that I have planned for the Raptor R over here in my pile. It's getting rather large. Got some really nice products: index suspension, leveling kit. We've got airlift 5000. The new bags that are set up for the Raptor. We got Banks pedal monster, y'all. We got um, the door insulation, wolf box, console safe. I mean, just all the goodies. We got inner fender liners. We got Toyo RT Pros. Just a lot of things that are going to go into that build. And I'll try to get some more videos out on some of that stuff. But just kind of wanted to do this video to talk about what's coming, right? And the issues with the RHO. So usually kind of in this point, my RHO is kind of getting to the point with miles that I don't generally keep a truck over 20,000 miles. So generally don't keep them over 15. Now the problem is I really like the RHO. It's probably been one of my best trucks that I think I've had, and it's interesting to me because I don't mind to continue to keep driving this one. And one of the things that's even more interesting is the value on it. Okay, again, took it in for a trade in, and I was offered pretty decent money for it again today. Um, and then the projected MMR on that truck, because of the price increase, is actually going to go up next month. So that's interesting. So there are some things going on there. The only issues I've really had with the RHO was today we basically had the driver headlight. I had the passenger headlight, the little LED rings went out a couple weeks ago. And then the driver one did it today. So they went ahead and replaced my driver and passenger. But besides that, oil changes. I think I've done an alignment when I put the level kit on it. But I've had zero issues with that RHO, and it's been a really good truck. Probably one of the most capable half tons. And I think it just goes back to it having the turbocharged Hurricane engine that makes it run as good as it does and tow as good as it does. And so I've just been really happy with that truck. But usually in this time, I look at possibly doing a transition truck. So I was looking at the HDs are discounted pretty good right now. So I went today to kind of look at those, and I got a platinum down to a really good price, y'all. And they're giving me good money for my RHO if I trade it. The problem is, I went and looked at the MMR on those HDs, and they've dropped significantly. The RHO is actually holding better value. So I'm going to continue to drive it until the Raptor comes in. If I get closer to that 36,000, I'm going to buy an extended warranty. I haven't had much issues with it, but y'all know with these new trucks, it, anything like a headlight, the cost of an extended warranty can be covered by the headlight, the screen, anything that goes out on them. So I'm probably going to go ahead and update that. I think the extended warranty they quoted me was like 1400 dollars, which is not really bad considering. And then it's partially refundable if you trade it in, so it's not like you're losing that money. Um, but anyway, the RHO has been a great truck. I'm not. It's okay. The Raptor is going to get delayed a little bit. Kind of would rather have the 26 model anyway. One of the things that Ford took away from the Raptors, 24 had them, and 25 actually got rid of the keypad on the door. And there's always things every year that kind of move. Like in 2023, they had the headrest speakers and the Super Duties. They got rid of those in 24. Um, there's always some stuff moving, but when they got rid of the keypads in 25, they got enough flack on it that Ford was okay. We're going to put those back on 26 models. And if you want the keypad and you have a 25 model, there's definitely lots of stuff in the groups. You can go get that. You can buy the piece on the door, the strip. You can buy the keypad, and there's actually a plug-in right inside the door panel. And then your dealer can enable it for you, and you can pay them to program it. Or if you have forescan knowledge, you can program it with Forescan and get that enabled. Okay, so things like that. But like I said, the 26 is going to have some of those things, and it's a current year model for me. I'd rather stay in a 26. So anyway, and the dealer I'm purchasing from, y'all know I'm getting it at MSRP. Yes, I can go buy one today and pay over that, but I am not going to do that. I think it's a nice truck, but I don't think that I'm going to pay over MSRP. Um, anyway, I'm just reading some of the comments here. CTEX on, and go check out CTEX channel if you want to see some real RHO and Raptor R reviews. He's got a lot of good content. He actually runs these things out in the dunes and tests these trucks, y'all. If you haven't checked CTEX channel out, go check it out. He's got lots of info, and I think he's got another new truck coming. He's going to drop a video on pretty soon. I won't spoil that for him. But the RHO is just a comfortable truck, y'all. And with the hands-free driving and the massage seats and all of those things, I really like those things. There's a couple features with Ram that, that has little issues. And if you research, on the forums, things you might have to replace down the road, but every truck's going to have those things. Okay. Anyway, like I said, just haven't done a live very often, but it sounds like the fire at the plant has backed stuff up. And so my expectation has dropped significantly from thinking I was going to get a truck this year. Is probably going to be next year. But we'll stay pleasantly surprised. They generally, Ford does all their scheduling on Fridays. So if they do pick the order up or they schedule the order, it's going to be on a Friday. So maybe tomorrow, maybe next Friday, maybe we'll get answers. But it looks like I saw in the forums today that a 2026 Raptor was scheduled for 12/21. So it looks like they are scheduling for the end of December right now. So anyway, that's about it, guys. Appreciate y'all connecting. And, like I said, just haven't done a live. Thought I'd drop one of these. Want to give y'all an opportunity to ask any questions. You asked me on what year would I recommend the RHO, and I'm just going to tell you, probably the best deal you can get. There's a lot of difference on the RHO between a level 1 and a level 0. Massaging seats, power tailgate, the hands-free driving. And so if you're looking for that, higher technology truck, I would say most of them, you should be able to get them for somewhere around 8 to 10 off if you find them. The level 1s are getting a little harder to find. And so the dealers aren't making quite as good of a deal on those, but the level 0s, and they're generally, I think, about $8,000 to $10,000 difference on stickers. So you're looking, I think it's 84 versus like 70 something. But 25, 26, it doesn't really matter. One of the most interesting things is you can go KBB and RHO today and look at the value of the RHO, a year old with 20,000 miles, and then go put what you would pay for a Super Duty or a Denali or any of those other vehicles and go look at that. It's kind of interesting. And it seems like the market is shifting towards these sport trucks. These half tons have just become so capable to do a lot. Now, I know, you look at the sport trucks and they're 8,000 pounds towing, but y'all, it does that really well if you stay within those boundaries. Now, if you're a big RVer, you're going to do something like that, then of course you're going to need an HD, right? But for everyday folk that are driving these trucks, they get pretty good fuel economy, especially the RHO. I just did 400-mile trip this weekend, and y'all, we were right at 15 and a half to 16 miles to the gallon. And that's running 75 to 80 miles an hour, which is a speed limit here in Texas. So a truck with 35s that comes with all of that on it, and that's with all our suitcases in it. That's for my 2 kids and my wife, all of us in the truck running that speed and getting that kind of economy is pretty crazy. One of the things I will say, I've had the TRX, and then I've had friends that have the Raptor R, and that the 6.4, the 6.2 supercharged in the TRX versus the 5.2 Predator in the Raptor R, and the 10 speed versus the 8 speed. Y'all, I think that there's probably a 2 to 3 mile per gallon difference between those trucks, and that's being honest. The city beats both of them up pretty bad. The highway, I think, is pretty close to the same. You might be 1 or 2 miles to the gallon difference between the two if you're talking stock application. But the city with that 5.2, you're just not paying for as much fuel for it to idle, and you don't have that big parasitic load on that engine as you do on the 6.2 supercharged that's in the TRX. Both amazing. Okay, I will say this: there is nothing like the TRX supercharger whine. That is 100% when I had my TRX. That's something that everybody drives them, and that engine, the sound of it is hands down probably one of the best sounding motors in the market. Okay, so things you weigh, the differences between the two trucks. And we haven't had any information on the TRX. And Ram hasn't released anything. There hasn't really been anything leaked on it. I know they said they were supposed to start production in January, excuse me, but we haven't seen anything. So I don't know, what they're going to do right now. I'm pretty set on the R, and I think the R is probably going to be a year truck for me. I'm probably actually going to purchase an extended warranty on this truck, which will be the first truck that I buy an extended warranty day one. Um, just because I think I'm going to drive it. I think I'm going to be very happy with it. So let me read some of these comments again. The radar that I use that goes under the rear view mirror. I have some videos on that, y'all. So if you go to blendmount.com, that's where you will find the bracket that bolts to the rear view mirror. Let me turn this a little bit. I've got a glare right there. Sorry. So go to blendmount.com and look up the mount for your vehicle. You select your vehicle and hit accessories, and you'll see it come up. And that's just a hard mount thing for that. And then if you have a Ram, you can go to Gen 5 DIY, and they literally have a plug and play that clips in behind the mirror. You pop the little plastic off, and it just has a little cord that comes down. It's got a switched ignition. It works really good. If you don't have a Ram and you're looking at Ford, like I have a Ford, let me grab these harnesses real quick. 1 second. So when you go to Blend Mount, you can get these harnesses right here, okay? And they'll send you 3 of them. Actually, you can look these up on Amazon too if you want to just look up radar detector. And if you've got a Valentine 1 or Escort and it's got like the telephone jack, I think RJ6, I can't think of the name of it. But you can see you get a packet and it's got, each one of these is the same, but it's got 3 different sets of pins, sorry. And then these set of pins just push in. And then it'll come with this little instruction pack. Like I said, this is an Amazon deal. Sorry, moving my camera here. And basically, you just find those 2 switched ignition wires, and you just push it in to the back of the rearview mirror. That's what you're going to use on the Ford, and then you'll have a switched ignition for that. So that's pretty easy. It's not too bad. Yes, Ron, the Raptor R for me is probably going to be a keeper for a year. I'm not quite sure on the airflow question what that means. Um, but I do have some videos on the radar detector stuff. If you just search my channel for blend mount or radar detector, it'll come up for you. But anyway, y'all, like I said, the RHO has just been an amazing truck. I've out of all the trucks that I've had and the ride in it, and I went and test drove, 2 HD trucks in the past month as a transitional truck just to kind of see if I wanted to buy one of those to be in transition to kind of wait till the R comes in. And y'all, it's just a different ride. And once you've kind of been in that half ton, um, it's just really nice. And it is a life adjustment for me because I have a lot of equipment. I've got a lot of big trailers. But now if I need something moved, I've got people that I know, and generally I just pay people to haul my large equipment. Um, it's a convenience thing, but it's also my daily driving. And this truck has, I think I've had it I bought it back in March, and then my HD came in, and I drove it for like 2 weeks. And then I traded the HD back in and bought the same truck back from the dealer because I like the RHO that much, y'all. And so if you figure since March, I put almost 24,000 miles on that truck. So I'm putting a lot of miles on it. I'm running down the road a lot. We got lots of activities going on right now. We live probably 40 miles out from town. So I'm back and forth a lot in that truck. And so for me, it's about being comfortable. And that's really all it is. And the family and I have gotten to where we sold the big RV. You'll see my videos on why we sold the RV. Y'all, RV parks are just overcrowded. It's just by the time you pay for the fuel and you have the stress of hauling it, and then everything in Texas is under construction. We've got those concrete barriers sitting on the lines. It's just stressful to pull it. It's stressful to do it. And we have actually transitioned to where road trips for us feel great. I mean, we love doing 1,000-mile road trips. I mean, we just jump in that truck when we get on the road, and it's great. Probably for Thanksgiving break, we're looking at doing another one. And so, like I said, this weekend, I think we did a 400 or 500 mile trip, and it's really nice. It's really comfortable, and it's zero stress. I'd rather just stay in a condo. I'd rather stay in a nice hotel. It's just easier than dealing with tanks, hooking it up, and then something is always broken in RV. It doesn't matter. You get a brand new one. It doesn't matter what brand you buy. It's always something. It's an air conditioner, hot water heater. It's the batteries. It's the inverter. I mean, the converter. It's just always something. Um, my favorite Ram 1500 trim, probably, I'm gonna say that tungsten is amazing. Um, for me though, the half ton feels like too small of a truck, and think that I think that the RHO just gives you that width. It gives you a bigger vehicle, and I really like that. It kind of in between the Super Duty, kind of in between the single wheel half ton, and I guess you put a lift on them, put some wheels and tires on them, they feel like a little bit bigger truck. But that's where the Raptor R and the RHO, it is a stance truck. I mean, it's wide. It feels like you're driving a larger truck. And I think that's why I kind of stay away from those. I had a lot of limited 1500s that I absolutely really liked. Um, but the tungsten, I mean, that high output in that tungsten runs like a rocket. I mean, you've got regular size tires on that truck, versus that high output in the RHO. It runs great too, but you really see it shine when you get into that tungsten. And I test drove one of those when I did a video on it a while back. And y'all, that tungsten's amazing. So if you're asking me my best trim, if I was looking at something besides an RHO or a Raptor R, I would probably sit into that tungsten. And you get the hands-free driving, the massaging seats, and gosh, I think the headrest even move, and it's 16-way adjustable seats. I mean, all the stuff that comes in that one. Miles per gallon on the RHO, I covered that a little bit earlier. We're probably, I would say I'm averaging 13 to 14, but I'm a lot of city driving. And so, but when we get on the highway and we run the highway, like I said, we got all our luggage in it and everything. We saw 15 and a half, 16 this weekend. So I'm getting about 415 to 420 to a tank. And the worst I think I've seen is probably 360 to 370 to a tank. So it's not real bad. Um, sorry, y'all, I'm reading. But yeah, I mean, that's really about it, y'all. If y'all got any other questions, if y'all want to ask them, you can definitely go to my community page and ask them there. But like I said, it's been a while since I did a live, so I kind of wanted to throw the live out here and just talk to y'all a little bit, kind of what's going on, what my thought process is. And if the MMR wasn't, and I think the MMR on the HDs is, and y'all, the HDs are great trucks. I'm not bashing them at all. But if you look at the inventory, the supply is through the roof. You can go pick out whatever color you want and whatever brand you want right now. Okay. And there's a lot of 25s on the lot, and those 25s are discounted. So if you're looking for an HD right now, but it's a buyer's market. Okay. But because the supply is so high on them, that's why the value's a little bit down on the resale on them. Okay. And it doesn't matter which one, if it's Ford, GM, or Ram. Okay. The sport trucks, like the RHOs, the supply is actually down. I mean, people are waiting on orders. The Raptor R, I mean, look at the pricing on it. Look at the ADMs. Look what people are paying for those trucks if they're in stock. I mean, they're still, you can call all over Texas, and the best I found is probably 15 to 18 over, and the worst I found is about 35 to 40 over MSRP. So I think, just the supply of those is down. There's not a bunch of them in the market, so it makes people want them more. And that RHO for the price point, I mean, y'all, to go buy a truck that's an average of 75 that you're going to pay for that truck, it's amazing. I mean, for everything you get in there, it's the most featured, best budget, and that 540 horsepower in that motor and that Hurricane is the power band is all the way through. It's not like it's a top end. It really, when I say that it pulls like a diesel, it really does pull like a diesel, y'all. If I'm hooked up to my tri-tune right here, which is almost a 27-foot tri-tune with the 350 Merc on it. Yeah, I'm running 75 down the highway, and it's shifting up to 25. I mean, it's only running up 2,500 RPMs in between gears shifting. It's not like your old school V8 gas that's going up to 4,200 RPMs in between shifts. I mean, that low end torque is there with the boost. And so that's the difference on those, I think. And the best time to buy a truck, like I said, is probably right now if you're looking for a 25. Super duties, you can find 26s right now. They're about 6 grand off. But if you find 25s on the lot, I mean, you're anywhere from 9 to 13. And so I think right now, if you're looking, to buy one, you can definitely go negotiate a pretty good deal. It's the end of the month right now, so the next day or two is pretty good. I think that end of the month, next month is going to be even better, but your selection's probably going to drop down because those dealers are hustling to get those 25s off the lot. And so, looking forward, I think you're really going to have to, just make your decision on it. November, I think they'll really be trying to get all the 25s moved out. And 1500 or 2500, that's completely up to you. I did a video the other day on the Rebels. I think the Ram 2500 Mega Cab is probably going to be one of the best riding vehicles because it has the coil spring rear axle, but it's going to have the least amount of payload, y'all. And the Mega Cab is a heavier truck. It is long wheelbase, so if you don't like that, you're going to have to go to the Crew. But I did some videos the other day on the Rebels because, and we'll talk about that too, because like you look right now. So if I'm looking at a 2500 Ram with the coil spring rear end, it's going to ride better than anything on the market. It's not going to tow quite. It's going to be better than your half ton, but it's not quite capable. Let's just say like the payload on a diesel, maybe 2,200 pounds, right? Where, a half ton payload is going to be 1,500 pounds, somewhere in that range. Okay. Um, if you go get an F-250 in comparison, it might be closer to 3,000 pounds. But where it really comes in is the other day, just like looking at a Ram Rebel that comes with 35-inch tires that look good. They're like all terrains. The sits up pretty good. It's got a little bit of lift on it. I compared a 6.4 gas to the diesel. And y'all, that truck was like 72 for the 6.4 gas, and you're like 90 something for the diesel. And it's a 25. You could probably get 8 to 10 off of that truck at 71. I mean, you're looking at, you can go pick that 6.4 gas up for somewhere probably in the 60s, low 60s. And for a 3/4 ton, it's going to ride good. That's a good. I think it's a really good purchase to go look at one of those, or at least go drive one of those and see what you think about it. The 2500 limiteds are nice too. Nothing against those. They're just more pricey, of course. But it's going to be up to you on whether you want a 1500 or 2500. If you don't have a lot of trailers to pull, you got a little utility trailer, you're pulling some jet skis, your boat, I would go 1500 all day long. And whatever brand you buy, GM, Ford, you know, if you just need a half ton, like I said, these half tons are way more capable than they used to be. They just have a good steady power. And like I'll give Ford this. One of the first EcoBoost, I pulled I think it was a 26 or 27-foot fishing boat, and those things are heavy. Like I'd always pulled them with my 3/4 ton. You knew they were back there. And when we put it behind a half ton, we pulled it with a 3.5 EcoBoost, and I set the cruise at 75 miles an hour. I didn't even know it was back there. And so it just shows you these motors are making moves, and they're towing better, and they're doing better than they used to. So anyway, I hope I answered most of y'all's questions. I'm gonna get off here tonight. I gotta go get some stuff done in the house, but um, and your question, am I gonna try any other brands of truck? I don't know. I mean, I kind of rotate. Sometimes I do Ford, sometimes we do GM. Right now, I mean, Ram is still my favorite interior. GM is still my favorite exterior. Um, the Raptor R is a really good looking truck. I think they could do a little more with the inside of it, but it's a sport truck, so I understand. But it's all just a toss up. You've got to go drive all three of them to see which one you want. But I think you can get some good deals on some 25s right now. So um, there may be another 3/4 ton in my future. Don't know. We'll see what happens. Right now, though, the half tons and making these road trips, y'all, and that's where it's at. I mean, I've got a daughter that's a teenager. My other daughter's, she's 10. And so we're doing a lot of road trips, and they're enjoying that. And so the road trips are just great in these half tons. And the other reason is when you go to pull up at valet, it's easy to hand them the keys. Like when you've got a Super Duty that's long wheelbase, doesn't have the good turning radius, you worry about them, hitting the garage, you know, all of the things that you have to worry about when you're in that half ton, like it's easy. You just pull up the valet, throw on the keys. It's a simple deal for me, and it just I don't worry about things as much as like when I have an HD. So thanks on the congrats on the 184 subs. Man, I think probably here in the next 3 to 6 weeks, I'm gonna try to hit 200. So we're growing. Um, anyway, like I said, I'm just trying to help y'all make a decision. Y'all got any questions? Like I said, you can hit my community page. I'm gonna try to do these lives a little bit more so y'all can hop on here, and I'll give y'all a little more notice. I'll try to schedule it. Let's say 2 or 3 days out, so some people can make them and they know when they're going to be. And I'll try to get a little more consistent with them. But man, I appreciate all of y'all subscribing to my channel. I appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate everything y'all are doing. I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't be here without everybody that supports it. And I wouldn't be able to buy some of the things I buy if I didn't have this channel. So thanks again to everybody that has hit the subscribe button. And like I said, and I'm going to build a lot more stuff. And this Raptor R, y'all, I'm excited. We got, man, I'm counting probably 20 things over there. It's going to be a nice build. It's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. So anyway, I'm going to get off here. Y'all have a good weekend. It's good to see y'all. Thanks again. Catch y'all on the next one.